Welcome and hello to all of you watching out there. I wanted to welcome you to our first webinar on how to transform student learning through educational travel just a little bit. Um, I'm assuming that if you are here, that you are interested in taking your students or getting your school involved in doing some sort of student type travel. And I just wanted to kind of give you an overview, bird's eye view of things that we do that can help you uh, with what you would want to do. And so we're going to get started into it here just shortly, um, and give you a little bit of background on who I am, who my wife is, and why we're doing what we do. So again, thank you for being here, and I hope you can take away a lot from the next several minutes as we talk through this. My name is Nick Owens. I am owner of Butler Travel, and my wife Joy is also an owner with me. We are both not retired, former teachers. I guess not really retiring from teaching, but we are former teachers. I taught in the Adventist school system for 20 years in the high school level. I taught at all different levels, but primarily in the high school level, and I've taught up to university level as well. And in those 20 years of teaching, I've had the opportunity to lead many different tours, different styles of tours, different places to go. Most of them were mission trips where we took groups of students onto a week-long, 10-day long mission trip, and others of them were study tours that we went on as well. And my wife and I went on one study tour, in particular, I'm going to share with in just a moment. But yeah, 20 years of teaching and lots of experience with getting groups moving around the world. Places that I visited with students. I've been into India. I've been to all over in South America and Central America. I've been um, in Africa. I've been in where are they? Canada. I've been up into Alaska, into the bush in Alaska. Been quite a few places with students over the years. Each one has a unique um, I guess just a unique perspective and something that you take away from it as a tour leader. But in all of them, the students had so much to take away from it as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today in what we do. So it's been the past 20 years. My wife and I stepped out of teaching, and now we own Butler Travel because we really just wanted to we wanted to stay with the educational thing and engage schools and students in travel because that's near and dear to our hearts. I lived in Taiwan for 5 years and traveled quite extensively while I was over there, and just the learning that I had while I was going on these little trips that I just wanted to go on, and taking students on other trips, I just recognized the need for taking these types of trips because the students they learn so much from them, and so we wanted to talk a little bit about that. We send a lot of people on mission trips and other schools from around the United States and even abroad, and then we do a lot of other stuff too. But I just wanted to focus in on this educational study tour, student tours, educational tour concept because I know schools take them, but one thing that we wanted to do was offer one that could give you more dynamic control over the trips. They're not just prepackaged and you have to take what you get. So we wanted to do them much more customizable. And then we also wanted to add that Christian element into it as well. But I want to tell you a story before we get too far into all the weeds on this today. And this is kind of dealing with the how you can transform student learning through these educational tours and stuff like that. And I had the opportunity back in 2012, I believe it was, um, and my wife now, who was not my wife at the time, her and I took a group of students from Taiwan specifically to Zambia. And we decided that since it was such a long distance, we didn't want to go during the school year. We wanted to go during the summertime. And so over summer, we spent 30 days. Our entire trip was 30 days long, traipsing around through Zambia. Part of the time that we were in Zambia, we did safari. I think we ended up doing a safari for 7 or 8 days. And then we took some downtime and we traveled to Victoria Falls and did some fun stuff there. I think some of them went river rafting and some went gorge jumping and all this kind of stuff. So we had a lot of different experiences. All of us went to the Zambezi River and got to the overlook where you could look over Victoria Falls from standing inside the pools of water looking over the edge, which is a thing to do if you've never been to Zambia. Yeah, then we were at Riverside Farms, that is a Christian organization that works in Zambia, a Christian mission organization. They have a huge farm there, and we spent time at that farm, getting to know the locals, getting to know how farming was done in Africa. So there's a lot of educational activities that went into this whole thing, and we had such a fun time. I think when we were done with it, the kids who were with us, the students who were with us, they really enjoyed it. They were ready to be home, obviously, but they really enjoyed their time doing this whole thing that we went to, getting up for safari at 4 o'clock in the morning so that we could see all the morning animals. We even did a part of a walking safari where we walked around looking for all sorts of scat and all this kind of stuff because we were trying to identify the animals through scat and footprints. We found an elephant footprint and we were able to footprint the elephant, stuff like that. And we took it home and it was like this big of a footprint, plaster cast. We had a really good time doing it. We got to walk cheetahs at a cheetah rehabilitation sanctuary. We got to play with lion cubs, and I kid you not, we get to play with them. We had little toys and we could play with the lion cubs that were probably 30, 40 pounds. They're so playful, so adorable, but we had so much fun. And the students really took a lot away from that as we went through it. But that helped to transform those students at that time. And I still keep in touch with them. There are students that I keep in touch with over Facebook, even though all of them still live in Taiwan. But just a little bit of the idea. Why is educational travel, educational tours like this, why are they so important? So we wanted to like talk a little bit about that. Um, and number one, like you may not be dealing with high school students, you might be dealing with middle school students. But either way, you're going to be dealing with lessons that stick. So if you format one of these tours around curriculum that you want to do, or just some educational uh, ideals that you want to hit up while you're here, whether it's going to Washington, D.C. and seeing stuff in Washington, D.C. Whatever you do, these lessons are going to stick with those students no matter where they go. They're going to remember that time. I remember going to Washington, D.C. when I was a little kid, going to the mint and getting shredded up money from the mint and learning how the mint worked and all that kind of stuff. So really cool things that there are lessons that stick. And that was probably when I was 9 years old or 8 years old. So there's lessons that stick. Not only that, but they become bigger picture citizens. They see things that are outside of themselves. A lot of times, children growing up, they don't get to experience these different cultures if they're going to a different country. They see things, but they don't really get to experiencing, like say Washington D.C. If you lived on the West Coast, they may not have ever had the opportunity to go to Washington D.C. and see some of these founding fathers and things like that. So they get to start seeing the bigger picture, and they become uh, more of a world citizen, might be, or a global citizen. They start seeing that bigger picture. There's more out there than just that little area. And when I was in high school, I was in North Dakota going to high school, and I remember us taking a trip, and probably half the students had never left North Dakota before going on the trip. We went down to Honduras, I think, and it just blew their minds with the stuff that we got to see and do. And then the other thing is like a living classroom for developing faith. If you're going as a Christian school, you want to kind of develop that faith and those interpersonal skills where we uh, learn to have empathy for people around the world who aren't in as good of positions as we are, and things that we can do to help them. So it becomes a living classroom that they can take away some of these faith aspects. Not only can you go on trips that develop faith, but you can go on trips that inherently just build faith into that whole entire setting. So you don't have to set that aside. If you go with the bigger ones, they obviously do not add the faith element into it. The bigger companies like EF Tours or World Strides, which they're very good, but they don't have that faith element, and that's one thing that uh, I think is really important for educational tours and travel like that. But what does it benefit the students? Obviously, we hear all the time that it benefits their academic or their intellectual growth. We know this. There are plenty of studies that share with us what that is. I've read some studies that say that where they were at before they went on the trip or tour, and where they were after they went on the tour, and how they grew afterwards. Something like 59% growth overall for them in their schooling in any of their subject. It didn't really matter what the subject was. So that's like some of the research that's out there. But I mean, it doesn't just stick with them in school. There's some research that even goes beyond school and allows you to see how it benefited the students after they went into college, or after they even got out of college and got into their careers, and it even boosted their monetary income over several years because of this experience. And maybe it's because they were able to see something from a different perspective, tackle challenges from a different perspective, whatever it might be. Obviously, we know it's going to help them build their character. They're not with mom and dad anymore. Maybe they will be if they're in eighth grade and mom and dad go on the trip too, but they're still kind of thrust into this environment where nothing is normal for them anymore, and it has to help them, or it will help them build their character. It also gives you an opportunity to have an audience that you can really build that faith formation in that audience, because they're kind of captive, they can't go anywhere. So it kind of helps you with that. It gives you opportunities to do things that you wouldn't typically be doing that would help to form that faith formation and their character. It also teaches them about global and cultural citizenship, helping them do that kind of stuff where they see, hey, not everybody's as well off as am. And they take that home with them and they share that, and maybe that helps them to reach out to their people around them that maybe aren't doing as well, and helps them to engage with them a little bit more. But it also gives them confidence and leadership to kind of throw them outside their comfort zone just a little bit, in a controlled, in a loving, and a nurturing environment. It helps them to build that confidence, to build that leadership. And maybe you can even take some people on the trip and put them into leadership positions for the trip. Whatever that may be, these are all benefits that students are going to get from that. It's just an incredible opportunity for them to do this. And I think we know that intuitively as teachers and as educators. But then also, what's the benefit for this for a school if you're taking it from a school? Now, maybe your school doesn't want to do trips like this. They don't want to go to the board and get it approved and all that kind of stuff. You can still do these trips. Maybe just move it to summertime, and you can still be that teacher who takes their students. The school will still support it, but they're not endorsing it, if that makes any sense. So we can work with you on that kind of stuff too. But if the school is benefiting from this, then there's zero administrative burden left on the school. We can handle the flights, hotels, activities, all that kind of stuff. We can handle that for you. And really, your job just becomes getting the students and getting them all signed up and excited to go on the trip. And you can also help with building the trip too. But it also builds a stronger enrollment for the school. If parents know that you're doing these types of trips, that you as a school or you as a teacher are doing them, there's a stronger enrollment for that school. Like, it starts to build the school up and say, hey, we value this type of thing. We want our kids to go on these. We're going to send our kids to your school because we know you're doing it. So there's a benefit on that end. There's also the mission aligned enrichment part to it, where you can take whatever they do. I've heard of schools taking entire months off and sending students on mission trips and stuff like that, or being in a country for a month as part of their actual curriculum. So you can do that. That if that's part of your mission and what you're doing, you can do that kind of stuff. But we can also just do like the shorter trips, but you can align those to your mission and your values as an organization, which are really good. And then it just kind of builds that in culturally into your school as well. And then, there's just support for every stakeholder. You get your parents, like that's huge, and you've got clear communication. And that communication really, when it comes down to parents, there's two things they're worried about: the money, how much it's going to cost, and what are you doing with them on the trip so that they can kind of follow along and know what's going on. Beyond that, as a teacher, you're going to want to know the clarity of that. If you're taking chaperones, if you're the administration, you want to know what your teacher's doing on these trips. That all just there's support there for all of that. Even if you have to take it to the board level, there's still support to help you have a good presentation to the board so that it's clear what your plan is and what you're going to be doing. So these are all benefits for the school. And obviously, for you as a teacher, it makes you that rock star teacher that all the students are like, whoa, I want to go on that trip. I want to be in that teacher's classroom, whatever the case may be, that you become that teacher, which I think is really cool. It also helps for the teacher on the teacher side. It helps with that bonding and students have a point in time where they can just go like, "Do you remember that time?" Yeah. Or when they get to graduation, they're talking about everything. They're like, "I remember this trip." All that kind of stuff. It's really good. But that's not to say that there's not some challenges that come along with these. Very clearly, the financial challenge is there because these cost money. Um, and more important, I'd probably say more importantly than the financial part is the load that it puts onto the teachers. These are pain points that we deal with all the time. And so coming at it from the Butler Travel side, we can really help the teacher come alongside the teacher and alleviate the stress of planning. We can take out the parent concerns. We can take out that administrative overwhelm. We can budget the whole thing to fit into a framework with what you think you can afford, and then give you tips and ideas for how to make that happen. So all these things, it's not left on you 100% as the teacher. You've got a partner who's working alongside you to make sure that this whole thing happens and it's great for you. We know costs have increased. We all know that. But we're here to kind of help you manage those costs. We even have tips and ideas for overcoming those financial challenges or even the parent concerns, because those are real and they're legitimate and we don't want to overlook those. That would be a mistake to do that because then people are like, well, what are they actually doing? And truth be told, I have done that before where I haven't communicated clear enough to the parents, and there were concerns, and then you kind of have to backpedal and figure out how to make that right. So it's easier to start off going in that direction. So what can we help with? At Butler Travel, we know the industry. We know education. Like I said, my wife and I have both been teachers. We've done these trips before, and so we've narrowed it down to these five things here. Full service planning. We want to take all the guesswork out of what you're doing. We don't want you at the end of this like, what are we doing tomorrow? No, we want you to know every day, detail oriented. Here's what you're doing. Here's where your meals are if that's something you choose to do. Or here's where your activity is. We can even change activities on the fly for you if you want to, though that can cost more money. But these are things that we can do for you. You say, oh, I didn't think we could do this over here, but we do have time. Can we put that in? We can get that arranged for you. Obviously, there are limitations to that kind of thing, but those are things that we can help with. Um, we can provide simple, transparent pricing. Here's what you're paying, and here's what you're not paying for. I've seen so many tours where it's like, yeah, we're all inclusive, but we only cover one meal a day. And then the parents have to pay extra for that one meal, or they don't pay for the plane tickets. And so you have to pay for the plane tickets and the meals. And so you think you're getting a trip for this price, but then it keeps on ballooning as things that you don't cover anymore come into play. We plan on doing simple, transparent pricing, one price, and then you can go to your parents, you can go to your administrator and say, this is the price for the trip, um, and go from there. So that's a good thing. We also have real human support. We've got 24/7 support for anything. Mostly that's going to be on the flights where those types of things happen. But the 7 day a week human support, we've got that covered for you. We don't want to leave you guys hanging out there. Um, Something happens and you can't get a hold of somebody and be like, our person didn't show up, or our guide isn't here, or whatever the case may be. We don't want that to happen. We want to be there with you, and then we can work the back channels, talking to people saying, hey, what's going on? You need to get somebody over here. They're waiting for you, or where are you at? We can help with that kind of stuff. Not only that, but Butler Travel has been around for 30 years. We've got trusted experience. We have repeat clientele that have been here for 20 years in some cases. So what we are starting to do is we're starting to build into these educational tours. So this is a new thing that Butler Travel is starting, but we do have 30 years of trusted, bona fide experience on that backside of everything that's in the travel industry. And not only that, which I think is the most important out of all of these, is that faith aligned programming. We can come alongside you and we can develop things that fit with your school culture, with your values, and whatever, whether that be community service, whether that be going and doing something at a mission school or something somewhere, whatever it may be, doing homestays. We can do that kind of stuff. And all of that, it would be in the faith aligned programming that we can do for you. So that's some of the ways, probably the biggest ways that we can help you as Butler Travel. This kind of leads us to like what kind of tours can we do? See, these are some of the popular ones. And if you're a teacher, you're looking at it like, oh yeah, okay, I can see that. So we get art, performance, and humanities. I mean, that could be going to England and studying stuff that Shakespeare did and other types of English writing and stuff like that. So we could do stuff like that. Philadelphia is another one. Um, Language and culture. Obviously, if you have Spanish class or you're a Spanish teacher, or you're not a Spanish teacher, but you want to take students and give them some immersive Spanish, whatever the case may be, you can give them that language and that culture to go along with that curriculum. Or maybe you teach Italian, or maybe you teach Japanese, or whatever the case may be. You can do all that kind of stuff. And then we can even arrange for homestays with people that are vetted, so that when your students go there, they can stay at somebody's home and live like the local. But those would be all vetted so that we would know these people are safe to stay with. So there's that. We got the sports teams. We just put down soccer and gymnastics, but this could be if you're traveling for sports, going to a tournament somewhere. Maybe you'll drive, but maybe it's easier to fly. We can arrange for the transportation for you guys through flights. Because more than likely, if you're driving, you already have vans or buses for your school, but or you have access to them. But we can do flights for you if you want to fly, that kind of stuff. History and religion is another one. I mean, honestly, the big three are Turkey, Egypt, and Israel, always talked about in the Bible. Washington, D.C. has a museum of the Bible, and a bunch of other stuff. There's the uh, Smithsonian that has all that history and stuff that goes with it. So there's a lot that can go in there, and also with history too. Big thumbs up for Turkey because they cover both religion and history and pretty much all of world history. So you can go to one place and get it all in one place. Science and environment and agriculture, we can do that as well. We can work doing STEM stuff. Um, you have Tanzania and Kenya that are on there, that are places that have high animal biodiversity, for example, or agriculture or stuff like that. So these are just popular education categories. These are just ideas, not necessarily a you got to go here, just to kind of get you thinking about it. Our featured destinations that we put together tours for, we can easily put them together for and build them out for you. Philadelphia, that'd be great for an eighth grade tour. Gives a lot of history, Philadelphia, birthplace of the nation, all that kind of stuff. And we could even do Philadelphia with Washington, D.C. But that's a great place. But you could also do art performance and humanities. You could do stuff like that. Brazil, you got language, Portuguese. You've got culture, all sorts of stuff. That'd be more high school trip, I would imagine. Israel and the Holy Land, Washington, D.C. That's another huge eighth grade tour trip type thing. Um, and you just study the American democracy, that kind of stuff. But you can also do that in high school and do it for government class or something. Kentucky is a great one for religion. It's got the Ark Encounter, some of that. And Colorado, great for if you want to do a ski trip. Fly you guys out there. We can block out some hotel rooms for you guys, and you guys can go do a ski trip to Colorado or wherever you'd want to go to, for that kind of a thing. So those are just some feature destinations. Obviously, those can change, but that's kind of some of the stuff that we can lean into. Just for your peace of mind, we have a 24/7 emergency support. You're out there on the road in a flight or on a flight or whatever, and things go sideways on you. We've got that emergency support, to take care of you guys while you're there. It's a real person. It's not an answering service that's not related to Butler Travel whatsoever. It's a real person that is part of Butler Travel. Plus, we got our 30 plus years of trusted experience. We handle every document, minus visas, because we can't do that kind of stuff. But your documents are handled for you, such as your permission slips, your packing list, your budget sheets, all that kind of good stuff. And, we treat every trip like you're an actual person. You're not just a transaction for us. You're a person that's taking care of a group of people, and we are here to work with you on that. Just gives you an idea of our safety and our logistics. So we can help you with that. Our planning process. Here's how it works. 6 simple steps. First, you can do a discovery call. So if you're watching, you're like, oh, this sounds really cool. I want to figure out what it's all about. You can book a discovery call. You talk to me or my wife. Um, and we would just kind of walk you through the product, get to figure out what you want to do, walk you through the process, and then figure out if we want to proceed. No cost, no commitment at that point in time. If you have something you're like, yeah, I want to see that, we give you a custom itinerary and the proposal, how much it's going to cost. It will be tailored for you specifically. No canned recipe here for you. And then once we go through with that, and you're like, yeah, we're cool, we want to do this, and you get your contract and your deposit going on. That just means you're locked in, you're ready to go, you got some skin in the game. We work through the full logistics management from flights to hotels to all the activities and food. Whatever it is that you wanted to put into your trip, we'd be helping you with that. We'd help you with your packing list, permission slips, all that kind of stuff. You can obviously add to those if there's things that you're thinking of specifically for your trip, but we can help you with that as well. And then, yeah, permission slips, getting those out to your parents, getting them back, and all that kind of good stuff. And then the last step is just the support and the reflection. Once you're on your trip, we don't just leave you there. We're there to support you through the entire thing until you get home. So just some things to remember about, that's the plan. The real planning process really comes in step two. Because once we have that locked in and you're ready to go, it's all like, let's just keep moving on this and get things going and get those students excited about going where they're going to be going. So that's the idea. What is the next steps for you, for me, for all of us? What is the next steps? Well, I would love to have you guys schedule a free discovery call if you're interested in this. Um, yeah, it'd be really cool just to connect with you, talk with you a little bit, see where you're at and what you want to do, get some dates for you guys, walk you through some of our knowledge that we have about all these places that you might want to be going to. And then you'd receive a custom itinerary proposal if you wanted to move forward with it. And then we would hope that you would reserve your trip because that's the best part of the whole thing. So that's where we're at. We just want to make sure that we communicate with you guys because when you look at it and you're looking downfield at it, you're like, man, it's a long ways off. There's so much to do. We totally get it. I've been there. My wife has been there. And we just want to help you accomplish that. And I think once you take your first trip, you're going to want to take a second trip, and we'll be there for you on every subsequent trip after that that you'd want to take, regardless of the school you're at. We wouldn't change. If you move to a new school, you can take us with you and use us for that stuff too. So we're not going to change on that level. But yeah, you can always even refer us to other teachers. Like, hey, this is great. I did this with this company, and they did a really good job. So we would love to just help you guys do that kind of stuff because traveling, obviously, our company is a travel company, but it's also just it's close to our hearts. Um, and we love the travel. We love what it brings in each person that travels. It brings something new. It's unscripted. AI can't repeat it. Uh, so yeah, I think you guys have something. I would love to hear from you guys. If you do, you can always give us a phone call, ask for me, Nick Owens, or my wife, Joy Owens. You can go to butlertravel.com. You can see our tours that we have listed there. You can even sign up for some little mailings if you'd like. We have emails that will go out to you for you to help you in the planning process. And so they're all there if you go to butlertravel.com. Anyways, I do appreciate you guys listening, and I wish you the best as you think about this, as you pray about it, and as you really put it forward. We want to be here for you and look forward to helping you in any way that we possibly can. Have a great day.